They sat for decades in climate-controlled silence. Sealed cardboard boxes marked with LAPD property tags, packed with photos, cassette tapes, and witness statements. 3 celebrity deaths, 3 cold cases, and a quietly growing suspicion. What if the truth was never lost, just shelved? The glitter of Hollywood hides shadows deeper than any soundstage. Behind some of its most iconic deaths lie boxes, actual boxes of police evidence that remain sealed, mislabeled, or forgotten. Lives ended under eerie, sensational circumstances. Cases officially closed, but not convincingly solved. Today, we dig into 3 such files, each heavy with secrets, each echoing the unsaid. The glamour ghost, Natalie Wood's final night at sea. She was the face of golden era innocence, the ingenue who matured into a commanding star. Natalie Wood's life had the arc of a fairy tale, until it ended, inexplicably, in the water. On the night of November 28, 1981, Natalie was aboard her husband Robert Wagner's yacht, the Spangler, docked off California's Catalina Island. Also on board, actor Christopher Walken and the yacht's captain, Dennis Davin. The evening involved drinking, arguments, and what Davin later called tension thick enough to slice with a wine key. Sometime after midnight, Natalie vanished. Hours later, her body was found floating face down, a mile from the boat. She wore a flannel nightgown and a red down jacket, untied dinghy lines trailing behind her like a ghost's footprints. The official ruling, accidental drowning. But the coroner's report included fresh bruises on her arms, a cheek scrape, and a 2-inch abrasion on her left thigh. Wagner told police she must have slipped trying to secure a banging dinghy, but Davin claimed otherwise. In 2011, he went public, saying Wagner had argued with Natalie that night, violently. And in 2018, the LAPD reclassified Wagner as a person of interest. What's behind the unopened boxes in the LAPD evidence room? According to journalist Suzanne Finstad, who spent 15 years investigating the case, the boxes include never-reviewed witness statements and early interviews that contradict Wagner's account. One witness, a nearby boater, said she heard a woman screaming, "Help me! Someone please help me!" from the water for 15 minutes. Wagner has never been charged and denies any wrongdoing. Still, Natalie's sister, Lana Wood, has relentlessly pushed for answers. "I don't want vengeance," she said. "I want truth." And the truth, as it turns out, might still be sitting in a metal filing cabinet marked inactive. The case of the vanishing starlet, Jean Spangler's last message. Jean Spangler was a 26-year-old dancer with cheekbones that could slice through noir fog. On October 7, 1949, she kissed her daughter goodbye, told her sister she had a night shoot at a film set, and walked into the shadows forever. 2 days later, her purse was found in Griffith Park, its handles torn, its contents gone, except for a cryptic note. Written in rushed cursive, "Kirk, can't wait any longer. Going to see Dr. Scott. It will work best this way while Mother is away." That's all. No last name, no address, just that maddeningly vague goodbye. The Kirk in question immediately drew suspicion. Jean had recently filmed a scene with Kirk Douglas. Yes, that Kirk Douglas, on the set of Young Man with a Horn. When questioned, Douglas admitted knowing her, but denied any romantic involvement. Meanwhile, Dr. Scott was never identified. Speculation exploded. Abortion rings, mob connections, secret affairs with industry titans. Some thought she'd run off, others feared something worse. What adds weight to the box of sealed evidence? Unfiled witness statements and a rumored studio memo warning off investigators. According to LAPD insiders, a report by a female friend of Jean's stated she was 3 months pregnant and afraid. At the time, abortion was illegal in California, and risky doctors often operated out of hotel rooms or nightclubs. Police suspected she'd visited one and died on the table. The body? Perhaps disposed of by underworld fixers. Some rumors linked the operation to a former associate of Mickey Cohen, LA's reigning crime boss. Even creepier, in 1950, a San Diego waitress claimed she'd served a woman matching Jean's description, who looked dazed and frightened, accompanied by two men who wouldn't let her speak. Police investigated, but hit a dead end. Spangler's case remains open. Her missing persons file has grown brittle with age. But the evidence boxes, if ever opened, could crack a chain of silence Hollywood has maintained for nearly 80 years. The riverbank riddle, the mysterious death of Thelma Todd. Thelma Todd was the original comedic blonde bombshell, quick-witted, stunning, and by 1935, a lucrative star with a flourishing cafe business in Pacific Palisades. Then came a December morning that froze Hollywood's blood. On December 16, 1935, Todd was found dead in her garage, slumped over in the driver's seat of her Lincoln convertible. The engine was off, but her cause of death was carbon monoxide poisoning. It was declared accidental, but almost no one bought that story. Thelma had attended a party the night before, dressed to the nines and reportedly in good spirits. She had an argument with her ex-lover and business partner, Roland West, but nothing violent. Or so it seemed. Witnesses later reported seeing her alive the next day, dressed in different clothes, walking along the Pacific Coast Highway. Meanwhile, the scene of death raised questions. Her shoes were clean, despite the oil-stained garage floor, her makeup untouched, and her blood alcohol content registered at 0.13, high but not fatal. Her mother insisted she was murdered. So did some detectives who believed she was either lured into the garage or placed there post-mortem. Journalist Adela Rogers St. John's, who covered the case, said, "If Thelma Todd died by accident, then so did Julius Caesar. The unopened boxes? They contain studio memos, a second autopsy report, suppressed by legal order, and photographs never released to the public. Among them is a photo of Thelma's jaw that some experts say shows signs of blunt trauma inconsistent with CO poisoning. There's also a note from a studio fixer employed by MGM, noting concerns about scandal containment just days before the funeral. And then there's Roland West himself. In his later years, he reportedly confessed to locking her in the garage after a fight, though no one ever followed up. Thelma's death came just as she was planning to leave West's business and start anew. If it was an accident, it was one remarkably timed. Her death became a cautionary tale in studio circles. Stay quiet, safe. But the truth? That may still be locked inside a rusted LAPD locker beneath layers of dust and silence. Between the 1920s and 1960s, the LAPD's Hollywood division kept meticulous, handwritten logs for every case. Stored in bound ledgers, each entry written in uniform script with fountain pen or carbon copy. There were no body cams, no cloud servers, no DNA indexing, just reel-to-reel recordings, Polaroids sealed in envelopes, and floor-to-ceiling cabinets packed with files and manila folders. Not until the 2000s were any of these paper trails digitized, and even now, most remain buried in analog darkness. That means evidence boxes like Natalie's, Jean's, and Thelma's often rely on clues that are physically fragile. Charred cigarette butts in wax paper bags, lipstick smears on cocktail napkins, creased phone bills from the last known calls. The chain of custody is harder to follow, sometimes missing altogether. And once a case cools, the boxes are relocated, sometimes mislabeled, sometimes left in off-site storage vaults, guarded more by bureaucracy than by intention. Many of these physical materials are trapped in legal limbo, technically open but restricted under California privacy statutes, or frozen in time due to pending family petitions. Some items were even sealed per studio pressure, afraid that scandal might undermine a box office run or ruin an actor's contract. The evidence exists. The trail is still warm. What's missing is access. Sometimes the key to closure isn't a confession or a witness with a conscience. Sometimes it's just a declassified folder, a judge's signature, an unlocked filing cabinet in a dusty sub-basement under City Hall, and a fresh set of eyes. So here's the question. If the stories we've told tonight still haunt you, what might haunt the people who locked them away? These women, Natalie Wood, Jean Spangler, Thelma Todd, were not just stars. They were puzzles in motion, lives that cast long shadows across red carpets and into coroners' offices. Some called their deaths accidents, others called them tragedies. But in truth, they were warning flares, evidence of something bigger, colder, more scripted than we'd like to believe. And if you're wondering whether justice will ever come, remember this. History doesn't bury its mysteries, it files them. Sometimes badly, but never beyond reach. If this story lit a fire in your curiosity, hit like, subscribe, and share your theories in the comments. One unopened box might still change everything. Or maybe it already did.